Okay, no breathing in the tripod. With the speech entitled Nonviolent Communication, please welcome June.
Fellow Toastmaster and guests, good evening. Last weekend I had a argument with my husband again, and that ruined the whole romantic evening. So when I look back, actually it's not really a big deal, but we just kind of like end up with frustration because of the language we used. So that made me think that I probably need to go for some advice of how to communicate. And I found this approach is developed by Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, and it's called Nonviolent Communication. So I'm going to give my talk in 3 parts today. Firstly, challenge in communication, and secondly, process of non-violent communication, and thirdly, application of it. So first of all, challenge. We have all levels of communication, from talks between countries, negotiation with terrorists, and then our daily conversation between colleagues and friends and families. So when the communication goes well, we are very supportive or very encouraging, but when we don't always have that, right? So when it goes bad, it's actually come to a lot of judgment, because we were told what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, since we were a child. And we actually sink this judgment into our blood, and we use it every single day. And so when the judgment is positive, we call it affirmation. When it's negative, it's criticism. And this criticism actually implies punishment. This punishment ranges from sanction over countries to the consequence that children bear in the primary school age. So it's actually a group of violence. This violence could be verbal, could be non-verbal, could be cold war or hot war that we're experiencing at the moment. So when we have a lot of violence in communication in our daily life, it actually takes away our happiness to some extent. So this is a challenge I'm facing on a daily basis. I don't know if you got the same thing. If your answer is no, you can walk out and exempt it from the rest of my talk. Okay. So I come to the second point that I'm going to talk is process of the non-violent communication. The Dr. Marshall Rosenberg gives 4 steps for this process. Observing, which is observation, feeling, needs, and request. For each of them, for example, observation that they're talking about is we're trying to be objective. We're not going to take it personal. We're not going to have an assumption. We're not going to take in opinion. We're purely just tell a piece of fact. We're even not to look at how people think of us. We're looking at the needs not met. That's what focus is. And the second point, feelings. When we're talking about feelings, it's so easy to confuse with a statement and the emotion. And this is emotion we're actually talking about. You feel happy, you feel sad, you feel angry. Instead of, some people will say, I feel I'm a bad person. That's a judgment, that's not a feeling. So when we talk about feeling, emotion in this case, we actually have this link for being sympathetic, and we can be more open to tell the truth. Okay. And the third point, needs, which is a key for this process, because only when we found the needs not met, then we can resolve the problem and make the communication more smooth. So when we talk about needs, everyone knows this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's exactly what we're talking about. In addition to, maybe none of us will be really worried about you don't have food tomorrow or you don't have a shelter. But in addition to that, we are really looking at respect, understanding, self-value, love, and all this kind of, more higher level of needs. And that's what we're looking at. When we get clear with the feelings and the needs, then we come to a clear request. That is actually the action to be taken. For this, it's different from demand, because demand, we really ask for, you have to follow the instruction. But in this case, the other party has a freedom to say no. Okay, because our needs are equal. Sometimes our needs, between two parties, they can be conflicting, but so that's why we have freedom for everyone to say no. So with these 4 steps, if we look in that in a real world, is actually give us a formula. So the formula is like, I notice something that makes me feel something, and it doesn't meet my need of something, and here I go, I request to do something. Okay, so this is a formula. But you think it's very easy to imply, but actually to apply in the real life, but actually it's not. So you got the feeling of that. So what I did with my husband that time, this is the third part of my talk. The first version I had is, I tried. I said, I noticed that you still haven't washed the dishes. I'm furious because you never care about me. And so now, I need you to wash it now and arrange part-time nanny later. So you know what happened. So that doesn't work. Okay, so I looked into a real good example from Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, and it's an example of saying sorry, so apologizing. So it says, sorry, I ignored you. The way I treated you makes me feel sad, and it doesn't meet my own needs of building a respecting and understanding relationship with you. So could you please forgive me? So here you go. We have 4 different, steps, all implied over there. And I think if my husband asked me in this way, I would forgive him straight away. So I had another version for my, the bad one, the second pitch. I said, I tried. Okay. I said, I noticed the dish are not washed. I felt frustrated because I thought, I'm tired today, and I feel I'm not cared and loved. Would you please do it for me now? And he did. So what do you think? Do you think you can apply this 4 steps in your real life and go from there? Challenge for you guys. Thank you very much.